Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to e-learning Al Noor International School Grade 9 Chemistry course. I'm your chemistry teacher Faraz Anjum. This week we will discuss chapter number 7, lesson number 2, ionic bonds and ionic compounds. For this reference we need textbook page number 201 till 204. This is 2-week lesson, so this week our main objectives are explain the electrical charge of an ionic compound and describe 3 properties of ionic compounds. Let us start. Sodium chloride or table salt is an ionic compound consisting of the sodium cation chloride anion. So before I start, we have to explain that what is ionic compound. An ionic compound is a compound composed of cation and anion. Simple thing, a compound which have cation and anion combined together is called ionic compound. That's it, the simplest definition. So in sodium chloride, cation, which is sodium, anion, which is chloride, combined together make a sodium chloride. So sodium chloride is an ionic compound. So how they form? Formation of ionic compound. So what is electrical charge of an ion? Although they are composed of the ions, ionic compound are electrically neutral, means no charge, because positive charge going to cancel to the negative charge. Okay, so the total positive charge of the cation always equal to the total negative charge of anion. Because of this equality, they cancel each other. So as a compound itself, ionic compound is a neutral. Okay, so electrically neutral. Anion and cation have opposite charges and attract one another by means of electrostatic force. What is electrostatic force? Electro means charge, static means rest. So the charge in the rest position. So sodium like a Na positive or Cl negative. So Na positive, positive is rest position. So this is called electrostatic charge. Okay, and Cl negative. So this here is a negative called electrostatic charge. So the attraction between this positive and negative charge combined together, this is called electrostatic force. So electrostatic force that hold ions together in the ionic compound are called ionic bond. We normally call ionic bond this electrostatic force. So the attraction between the positive ion and negative ion, okay, combined together, okay, make a ionic compound. This happened because of the force. This force called ionic bond. Okay, so one more time, what is ionic bond? The electrostatic forces that holds ion together in an ionic compound are called ionic bonds. So when sodium and chlorine react to form compound, the sodium atom transfer its one valence electron to the chlorine atom. Sodium and chlorine atoms combine in a 1-to-1 ratio and both ions have stable octet. You can see here that sodium have 11 electron, okay, in outermost shell only 1 electron, and chlorine have 17 electron and outermost shell 7 electron. So what will happen? Sodium loses this electron or transfer the electron to the chlorine. So who lose the electron? Sodium. Who gain the electron? Chlorine. So after losing electron, it become positive ion, and after gaining this electron, chlorine become negative ion. So this one called cation and this one is called anion. Okay, so sodium ion, after losing it, complete the octet and gain the electronic configuration of neon. Same thing, after gaining one electron, chloride ion have or gain the configuration of argon and complete the octet. So after losing and gaining electron, it becomes stable. But when it form the compound, which compound? NaCl. So because of this attraction, and positive and Cl negative, they attract and they come together, close together, and make a compound. This compound called sodium chloride, which is ionic compound, and the bond between this called ionic bond. Another example, which is aluminum Al and non-metal bromine Al2, Br2, react violently to form the ionic solid aluminum bromide, okay, AlBr3. Each bromine atom have 7 valence electron because belong to group 7a, and readily gain 1 additional electron from aluminum. Remember, aluminum have valence shell. How many? 3. Okay, 3 electron because aluminum belong to group 3. Okay, so it give one by one each other to the 3 bromine atom, and 3 bromine atom combined with each aluminum atom and form aluminum bromide. Okay, student. Now let's talk about the chemical formula. A chemical formula shows the number of atoms of each element in the smallest representative unit of the substance. Okay, means how many atoms present in a molecule or in a formula unit. This is called the chemical formula. Chemical formula we can divide into two like this, that one is called molecular formula, other one is called formula unit. So what is the difference between this? Molecular formula, remember the actual number of atom, like H2O. H2O is a molecular formula of water. So H2O means how many hydrogen? 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen. Okay, but in the formula unit, NaCl, just say, because this is the ratio we will discuss, just wait. Okay, NaCl is a ratio, it's not the actual number of atom. Okay, so chemical formula, if we say the ionic compound, so ionic chemical formula also called formula unit, and chemical formula of molecular compound also called molecular formula, which is H2O. All right, which is covalent compound. Now look here, a chemical formula shows the number of atoms of each element in a smallest representative unit of a substance, such as NaCl is a chemical formula of sodium chloride. Okay, now, this chemical formula also called formula unit. So what is formula unit? The ionic compound do not exist a discrete unit, which is molecule. Discrete unit means molecule, but as the collection of the positively and negatively charged ion arranged in the repeating pattern. See, look here. So each chlorine atom combined with sodium atom, they arrange like this and then make a cube. After cube, making the crystal. Okay, so is how many sodium here, how many chlorine here, doesn't matter, but repeating unit means sodium attached with the chlorine and chlorine going to attach with the sodium again like this. Okay, it depends on the how big are the crystal. Okay, so that's why we could not count the exact number of sodium atom and exact number of chlorine atom. So that's why scientist says take the ratio, simplest whole number ratio. So here we go. The chemical formula of an ionic compound refers to the ratio known as a formula unit. A formula unit is the lowest whole number ratio of ions in an ionic compound. So what is formula unit? A formula unit is the lowest whole number ratio of ions in an ionic compound, like NaCl. NaCl means 1:1. Look here. Sodium chloride, the lowest whole number ratio of the ions is 1:1. Means one sodium atom going to combine with the each Cl atom or chloride ion. Okay, so sodium ion going to combine with chloride ion and make a sodium chloride. So the formula unit of sodium chloride is NaCl. As I told you, chemical formula in ionic compound also called formula unit. So what is formula unit? Formula unit is a chemical formula of sodium chloride, you can say like this, or simplest ratio. Although ionic charge are used to drive the correct formula, they are not shown when you write the formula unit in a compound. So see this, there is a no charge, so positive one, negative one going to cancel, so no need to write anything because they cancel each other. Okay, they have to be, because ionic compound must be, go ahead, what is it? must be, yes, neutral. Now go ahead this one. Predicting the formula of ionic compound different. We are taking the example of potassium and oxygen and magnesium and nitrogen. So the compound or ionic compound of potassium and oxygen called potassium oxide and magnesium nitride. Let's start with the atom of the metal lose the electrons. Remember this. And atom of the non-metal gain the electron. And after the combination, they must have to be equal. Like positive charge and negative charge must have to be equal because of the neutral compound. Now let's start. Potassium belong to group 1. So how many valence electron? 1. Oxygen group 6. How many valence electron? 6. You can see. Now oxygen need 2 electrons to complete the outermost shell, and potassium needs to lose this electron to complete the outermost shell. So what will happen? One potassium atom lose 1 electron and transfer 1 electron to the oxygen and become potassium ion. So 1 electron transfer here. Now how many left here? 1 more in need. So another atom of potassium lose the electron or transfer the electron to the oxygen and become potassium ion. After losing this, after gaining this electron, the oxygen itself, how many electron it get? 2 electrons, and then charge becomes 2 negative. Okay, so these 2 ions of potassium combine with 1 oxide ion, okay, and then make a potassium oxide. How are you going to write the formula? K2O. Remember, K has +1 and O is 2 negative. So crisscross, it will be K2O. How to write the formula? You know this one. Now, start with the atoms. Magnesium and nitrogen. Magnesium atom belong to group 2. Nitrogen belong to 5. So group 2 have 2 valence electron. Group 5 have 5 valence electron. Now, to balance all the charge, nitrogen must need, each atom must need 3 electrons to complete the octet. Okay, 3. So 3 and 3. Total how many? 6. And magnesium need to lose 2 electrons each, okay, to become a stable cation. So each magnesium ion going to transfer 2 electron and 2 electron to the nitrogen. So after the reaction, after the transferring the electron, we will get 3 magnesium 2 positive ion and 2 nitrogen 3 negative ion. Okay, so when you're going to be crisscross, it will be Mg3 and 2, which is called magnesium nitride. Now use the electron dot structure to determine the formula of ionic compound formed when calcium react with fluorine. So here we go. Calcium belong to group 2A. So how many valence electron? 2. And fluorine belong to group 7A, which need 1 electron only. Okay, so after combination means 2 fluorine atom need to combine with this calcium. All right, so calcium lose 2 electron, become 2 positive ion, and each fluorine gain 1 each electron to become fluoride ion. After the combination, the formula will be CaF2, 1 calcium ion and 2 fluoride ion. Let's start with the properties of ionic compound. What are the 3 properties of ionic compound? Number 1, the most ionic compound are crystalline solid at room temperature. Okay, at the room temperature, most of the ionic compound are crystal. Okay, the component ion of the such crystal are arranged in the repeating 3-dimensional pattern. The beauty of the crystalline solid comes from the orderly arrangement of their component ions. Okay, ions going to be arranged very perfectly in the array or in the repeating units. Okay, now what is crystal basically? Crystal is a solid which have geometrical shape. Geometrical shape means like a cube, triangle means making the angle. Okay, with sharp edges. Each ion is attracted strongly to each of its neighbor and repulsion are minimized. The large attractive force result in a very stable structure. Okay, and you can see those crystal ionic compound or crystal compound. Okay, number two, ionic compound generally have high melting point. So most of the ionic compound have high melting point. Why? Because of the attraction between the ions are very strong, and we need more energy to break this attraction, to break the ionic bond. All right. So would you expect to find the sodium chloride in underground rock deposit as a solid, liquid, or gas? Okay, sodium chloride is found underground rock deposit as a solid. Like the most ionic compound, sodium chloride has a high melting point, about 800 degrees Celsius. Thank you so much. Bye. We will continue this lesson inshallah next week. Okay, this week till here.